Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of Comfy Sunday. How's everybody doing tonight? We've got just about 1,000 people here, 427 likes. If you would not mind supporting the program by leaving a like and considering sharing on your favorite social media platform. You guys, we have quite the show in store for you tonight. The boys from Table of Titans are here. Somebody's running behind. Hopefully they're going to pop in at any moment. But that means, as always, Method's my co-host. Hulkinator is here. Tron is here. Space Shot's here. And Ardoc should be here. If you guys want to follow any of their YouTube channels, you can find the links to all of them in the description of this video. Thank you to everyone for coming tonight. Just got done watching POTUS's presser. He's not taking any crap from these guys. He said, hey, it's 8 o'clock. Comfy Sunday's about to start. I gotta bounce. And like that, he was gone. The Kaiser Soze of conservative politics. All right, guys, please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. After a car crash or if the lights go out, every second counts. And that's why the Patriot Charger's 6-in-1 features were designed to help you in unexpected incidents on the road. You can use the built-in powerful LED torch or flashing red emergency beacon for nighttime emergencies. In case you're trapped due to flooding or fire, use the seatbelt cutter and window breaker to free yourself. Patriot Charger is always within reach because it plugs into your car's cigarette lighter outlet and also doubles as a phone charger and portable power bank. Give the gift of peace of mind to your loved ones and take advantage of the 10% off discount with my special code REDPILL10. Click the link below in the description and get the 6-in-1 Patriot Charger while supplies last. With the Patriot Charger, you get an emergency window breaker, emergency seatbelt cutter, flashing emergency beacon, ultra bright LED flashlight, USB car charger, and a 2200 milliamp power bank. Go to patriotcharger.com and use code REDPILL10. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. Thank you to Patriot Charger for sponsoring this program. I appreciate it. Got mine right here. Methods, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you doing tonight?
What's going on, Red Pill? I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever.
I know, it's been too long.
I know, right? It was on that other show that happens during the week, right?
That's right.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Excited. Comfy Sunday, man.
Yes, as am I.
Looking forward to bunch tonight, too.
Yeah, you know, everybody's pumped up. We've got some great guests that are going to be joining us in just a moment. We had one quick matter of business that we wanted to go over first. Methods, do you want to key that up for us while I get this video pulled up and ready to go?
Right. Yeah, we wanted to obviously bring this up tonight and, just kick off the show with it. Everybody knows our buddy Jason woke up in Vegas, the infamous beard seen around the world that carried the vet down at the MAGA rally. He's asking for some prayers for his family and himself. Long story short, his mother's not doing well health-wise. She kind of took a turn for the worse. And we're asking for everybody to pray for them and their family. It's just a lot going on. She's kind of like the bedrock of everybody over there. So we're just asking for everybody to pray for them, pray that she, comes on the up and up. But just pray for their strength, just emotionally and mentally. And we know everybody here knows who he is. So, we all love him. So if everybody could take a moment and say a prayer for him, that'd be great.
Yeah, Jason is a wonderful friend of the program. He does incredible work. He has sent over a video which includes him talking to some people in the mainstream media, telling them what's what. And, I mean, unless you've been in the position where you have lost a parent or where you nearly lost a parent, as somebody who has, I can tell you that it doesn't... you're not prepared for it until it happens. And, I hope that Jason and his mother get to spend as much time together as possible. And they can use our prayers and our thoughts right now and all the well wishes that we can send them. So with that in mind, let's bring in our guests for the evening. I think that everybody has arrived. We've got Table of Titans Hulkinator. We've got Tron. We've got Space Shot. And we've also got Ardoc. Everybody is here.
I'm here.
Welcome, Ardoc. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Doing great. A little tired.
Cutting it close. I
was doing that thing we were talking about earlier, so that's all taken care of.
Sure. All right. Right on. Did you happen to catch the president's presser that he ended conveniently at 8 o'clock?
Oh, absolutely. And especially his direct statements to CNN were beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous stuff. We're going to talk about all of that and more tonight, definitely. Let's say hello to Hulk next. Hulk, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you guys doing? It's good to see everybody out in chat. All the 300 or 3,100 people out there. It's good to see everybody. A lot of familiar names out there.
Heck yeah, for certain. How about Tron? What's up, Tron?
Hey, what's up, Red Pill? Thanks for having us here tonight. I want to say hi to YouTube chat. And wow, what an awesome presser. I can't wait to get into it. I mean, the president, man, he's just coming in. He's aggressive and bold, and he's not taking anything from anybody. I love it.
No, he's all out of bubblegum for sure. Space Shot, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, brother? Good to hear you and my brother Methods and these other three guys that I do a show with all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But
these
good
guys,
to see everybody. Yeah, good to see everybody in the chat. As you know, we have a very similar audience, and it's good to see all the same familiar names we see that support all of our channels basically here. Great to see the support.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have some time off, man. I mean, people were like, "Are you going to stream too?" I'm like, "No, this is Red Pill's show."
Right. Yeah, you get the night off, man. That's part of the allure. I saw somebody in the audience say something that I'm going to be presenting the Oscars tonight. It's actually the Truther Awards. We're going to be talking about who's taking that home. No, I'm just kidding. Well, listen, why don't we watch that video? Because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it, and I want to make sure the audience gets a look at what happened with Jason. And now this was in Las Vegas, right, Methods?
Right. Yeah, they were out there protesting their governor. I can't remember, Sisolak? I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Sisolak.
Sisolak,
whatever.
Yeah. They were out there protesting, and Jason loves to just live stream and interact with people. I mean, he just loves hanging out with people and chatting and speaking his mind. And a reporter made the wrong decision of asking to interview him from local news, and the clip you're about to watch is what happened next.
All right, and let me just get this guy turned back on. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look, guys.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about why you're here today.
I don't talk with the mainstream media. I'm sorry.
Well, why not?
How about I interview you? What's your stance? How do you feel about being out here today?
As a reporter, I don't really share my thoughts.
Huh?
As a reporter, I don't share my thoughts.
As a reporter, you don't share your thoughts? Well, as a patriot, I don't participate in this, so I'm not going to share my thoughts with you. So, thank you, though. Thank you. No, you get everybody's opinion, but then you take a little bit to feed your narrative of what you guys want the story to look like, and that's what you put out. No longer are the people, you guys are going to be held accountable too. You're not going to come narrative, you're not going to come pinch little pieces and nuggets to get on your guys' network and cause division. No. It's not yours, but who you work for, that's what they do. And whether you see that or not, okay, whether you see that or not, you guys owe a responsibility to the people. And no longer are we willing to stand for that, okay? No, you don't. You want to get all of it so you can take what you want. That's why you want to get all of it. No, yeah. It's called television and programming for a reason. It's called fake news. It's called programming for a reason. You're not welcome here. We are the news. We are the news.
We are the news. How uncomfortable was she? Thank God she was wearing a mask so we didn't have to see those teeth being bared. What'd you guys think of that?
Right. Well, I mean, I'll just say this real quick, and then I want to hear everybody's opinion. I'm reading the chat; people are loving it. It was a lot of fun to watch happen when he sent it over to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of support for him doing that because we got to call him out, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, he made the right points and all that stuff. He only raised his voice because the crowd was cheering him on. But yeah, no, it was great. What do you guys think? What about you, Hulk?
Well, he makes a perfect point to her because it's not so much her creating the narrative; it's the stuff that she's turning over to her bosses or the editors that are going to go and cherry pick it. So she was taking the brunt of what his response was, and that's who we look at the entire time for us to tell us the truth. When we start seeing more and more of these people start standing up in front of the news, they're going to be forced to tell the truth. They won't have a chance to make their own narratives because nobody's going to be watching. I mean, look at Communist News Network right now, all China all day. I mean, come on, seriously?
You know, Hulk, you make an excellent point. I mean, in today's digital age, I mean, it's difficult for the press to get anything past us now because all of us are paying attention. Everybody's got their phone out, everybody's watching, and especially with this movement that we find ourselves in, we truly are the news. It's pretty exciting. Ardoc, what did you think about it?
Well, if I can unmute my mic there really quick, I was typing in chat. I watched it this time with no sound on, and only thing I could think of, cute dress. No, she, you know, it's the same thing. These are talking heads. Like the guy at CNN that's filling in for Acosta or whatever. This guy he's a believer. She may be a believer. A lot of them in Vegas are, frankly. And that's just the nature of the environment there. So for somebody like Jason to, you know, stand up to her in her opinions and her own views, which she may not even be expressing, and say what he thinks, it challenges her state of accepted reality, and that's not a comfortable place for her. So, you know, some people are like, oh my God, he was so caustic to her. No, I mean, these are people protesting. You heard the question today during the briefing from the reporter talking about these protests and trying to already characterize it as Nazis. And Trump said, no, I've never seen so many flags. That's the narrative they're going to try to present. And Jason prevented it from happening. Is the way I take it.
Absolutely. Space Shot, what do you think, buddy?
I think it's great that he did that, and you know, it's very poignant because they're going to want to film a bunch of different people, and they're going to want to extract what makes us look the most, you know, crazy, ridiculous, and anything that's swaying towards their narrative, you know. So we know that they do this, and I'm glad he, you know, shut her down basically and made her look foolish. Oh, I don't give my opinion on as a newscaster. Yeah, exactly. You basically spew the same nonsense that you're told to spew. So yeah, I'm glad he did that. He's such a good dude too.
For sure. Tron, what you want to weigh in?
Yeah, go ahead, Tron.
It's funny because what our doc was saying, you know, the pretty dress and everything, and that's the thing. They these reporters and the news broadcasters, they're gorgeous, and they tell you the information, and they lure you in for that interview. And Jason, man, I just love the energy and telling, you know, raising his voice, and everyone around him cheering him on, and we're going to see more and more of that moving forward because, guys, the MSM is complicit. They're a part of the problem too. And when Q says they can't walk down the street, that's also them. That's MSM. That's all those people. And it all goes back to knowingly. And man, I can't wait for them to meet their day. But man, what energy! And Jason's just, man, that's amazing. I love it.
Methods, did you have something you want to weigh in with again?
Well, no, I mean, Jason's such a. I mean, people know him. They obviously got to see him when he became, you know, world famous for what he did, and having, you know, the president's son even, you know, hang out with him and have to wipe a tear over how great it was. Jason behind the scenes, like he's part of the reason what keeps us going, right? Red Pill, like, because we hang out, we chat with him. You know, he's just always that energy. He always takes the time in the middle of things to make sure that we're taken care of, even on just like an individual basis. So that makes complete sense for him to do. I'm just really grateful that he's starting to do this, right? Like he's going out and filming these things and all that. So no, I absolutely love him for it. He's just a great person.
All right, let me go through and do these comments from the audience. Diane Bergman-Wisnowski, thank you for joining as a member. Red Hills Warhawk donated $2 for Larry's Wheels. Larry said that if everybody donates $2, I'll give him my car. We'll see what happens. WitchyPoo22, thanks for joining as a member and for saying, had to renew my membership. President Trump slaying dragons at the press conference. Yes, it was an impressive display from President Trump. Chris Hawkins says, all right, Table of Titans, Red Pill 78, and Methods all in one place. Mark 222714 FTW says, good evening, gentlemen, and I'll just refer to him as Mark for the win next time. God bless you and all patriots. 222, thank you, Red, for doing a great job. You have pulled everyone together worldwide. Thank you for that, Mark. Hannah BR12 says, God bless all my favorite artists in one spot, or all my favorites in one spot. We have One That Can See says, thanks to all of you and your channels for helping us discern the truth from the nonsense. Banshee Bane says, this is like having Carson with Sinatra, Dino, and Sammy Davis Jr. That is an honorable connotation to make. Thank you. Knucklehead 745 says, curious, Q posted 2 of by sea and watch the water. Do you think that our favorite Anon could be anticipating a shipping container missile systems attack on DC as an FF or attempt to take out President Trump? Let's address that. I took it because it was the anniversary of Paul Revere's ride. I took it to mean that we were going to actually see the special operators come in, perhaps through the water, and then enter DC and maybe take out some people in arrests, very possibly. Or it could have been that there was some incoming operation that we wanted to be warned about. But I think there's also the distinct possibility that maybe it was just a reminder that this very special day in our country, had come around. The anniversary had come around again, and we just needed to remember that because, we're all kind of like Paul Revere in this movement today. I mean, we're all sounding the alarm. Methods, what do you think?
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, off the top, it's got to be, a hat tip to the anniversary, right?
Yeah.
During all this time. And, the fact that we are in essentially a silent war, you could see it happening. You've got the boots on the ground media trying to attack the president, even during this presser. You've got all these wars happening in the mainstream media. You've got the Democrats stalling plans and trying to ruin what he's created, try to take down the president and the coup. This is the silent war, so it would make sense to, hat tip the time because it's important to know our roots, to know how we can get back to where we need to be, right?
Right.
So I'm very happy that it was pointed to. Now, anything else that like what the super chat said and what you pointed to, great, love it, working theory, but I like to just strip it back to the point that it's the anniversary itself, and it's to reminds us of what we need to do, really, and that's take this country back.
Yeah, for sure. Hulk, you want to weigh in? How about Ardak?
He's got to unmute.
Space mute. Yeah, space mute. Sorry.
He's too busy shamelessly plugging his YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, he's
in chat.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, but we had the 2 lanterns that were released. We saw on the Q post, and that goes back to Paul Revere. And we all thought we were Paul Revere back in 2018 when we're out there with Release the Memo. Remember that whole day we spent at home, we were trending hashtags, and then we had Betty White get up to the top, and then we started trending into that, and then they dumped all of them, and then we got out. But that was the most awesome thing to watch an entire day of hundreds of thousands of people out there trending hashtags, jumping one from another. So we've been here, we've done that. In regards to the Pelican container missile system, I mean, we dug on that in 2018. I haven't seen anything else come out about it, but I think it's still the anniversary of the Paul Revere ride. He's telling us to basically get ready and prepare. He says that we are ready or you are ready. So we're coming really close to our next step, and that's what we all been trained for the last 3 years.
I completely agree. Ardak?
I'm going to want to pass the torch. You never heard me say this before, Methods. I want Tron, because I think Tron laid out the timing of this, and I've seen other posts out there from people talking about all the linkages between Comey and Cornwallis and the Nancy and the Durham boats and everything like that. And so today is this the anniversary of the shot heard around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so in a certain period of time, which Trump mentioned a date. He mentioned 12 million, 16 million, 20 million, I think was the numbers. That could be 12, 16, 20, which I think is, or maybe I can't remember when they crossed the Delaware. I think it was 12, 26, 20. But anyway, I heard that and I got to go check it out. But Tron's got some information, and I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Bring it, Tron.
Well, I mean, just to reiterate pretty much, it's definitely talk about future proofs past. I mean, this is definitely a shout out to the past. I mean, what is it, 245 years ago or something? And if you want to refresh on your American history, now's the time, because with that in mind, future proofs past. If you look at those lanterns, I mean, the candles are, it looks like they've already been lit. There's some candle wax dripping down, and maybe it's just as simple as relighting it, lighting that American fire, getting to that next level, dark to light. We saw Flynn with the banner change, the eye of the storm, going to the light. That's been a common theme, but moving forward, I mean, the lanterns, and initially too, I mean, Hulk, when you sent me that, because I wasn't online at the time, and I saw the background, the clock tower, and I was like, oh, Ivanka standing in front of the clock, and I started running with that, and but yeah, like Ivanka with the clock tower, and the window, and also I believe that location, the hotel, something's there underneath that hotel where it lines up with where the bodies are buried. And with POTUS speaking of Flynn today, I mean, it's amazing how everything comes together with these crumbs and tells a story, and it's just amazing to be part of it. But yeah, those lanterns, and that's one of my favorite things with Q is like photo Q. Back in the day, we had Q on the move, so we'd have the photos from China and Snowden, comb your hair, all that stuff. So I like seeing, photo Q come back, because it's a time for us to just kind of analyze things and, appreciate this moment.
Sure.
Just throw this out there really quick. The last time that they lit those lanterns as a remembrance for Paul Revere was 2010. So I just happened to find that out at that location. I thought that was interesting.
All right, Space Shot, you got anything to add?
Yeah, Mike dropped something earlier. I didn't know if Mike wanted to talk about that post 3456 methods. I don't know if you have the ability to bring that up or not, but Mike dropped this earlier last night. You remember that, Mike?
34. Well, it was last night, so it was a whole day ago. 3456.
I got no idea.
Yeah, and you guys know I always like to try to give credit, and these last few weeks, my sleeping patterns have been crazy. But 3456, which is 3456, also has that watch inside of it, which has the time of looks like 4:49. But with a 19 inside of the display thing, worth remembering, Q put, and it was just a watch. And as far as, the two, if by sea, that's obviously open for interpretation. We're all taking our best guesses here, but I was looking at it like, all right, we're under attack from across the sea, which would be like China, and any of these things will, any of these things that we've all brought up, I think would work. And one thing I just wanted to point out to everybody, we have a lot of great researchers that help us, chip in and give a little bit of information here and there. And one thing I will say that, talking about those shipping containers that have, missiles or whatever else that is in them. If we are able to research this and people are putting this stuff online and we know about this, believe that President Trump and the POTUS team absolutely knows about it. While we do have great researchers, I think theirs are probably just a little bit better than ours.
You're right, and they're probably working 24 hours a day on this exact thing. Banshee's Bane says, this is like having Carson. Oh, we'd said that one. White Hat said, my fave friends, hope y'all are comfy. Thank you, White Hat. Mark for the win says, everybody's seeing flying objects in the sky recently. We were actually just talking about that earlier. I haven't seen anything, but if you've got any stories, I'm down to hear it. Marcus Gilson says, you should call the Truther Award the Crokin Award. That's not a bad idea. Jay Britt says, wow, what a who's who of the news. Awesome gathering and comfy to boot. Red Pills Warhawk says, Jason won the Truthers Award. Hands down, nailed it. Whitehead says, thank you for all you do. Next week is going to be great. Popcorn ready. Tim Combs says, mainstream is the enemy of the people. I live in Vegas. And Angry Shamrock says, you attacked her. Well, actually, Angry Shamrock, Jason is not on the program tonight, but I'm happy to go with this. Now, let's say, for the sake of the argument, that Jason was too aggressive. I mean, do you guys think that what we saw there actually was an attack? Let's start with methods.
Well, I mean, the video takes things out of context a little bit, because there is the yelling and stuff, the cheering and all that. He's raising his voice. He's trying to film, essentially interviewing this person. And Jason's a passionate guy. When he gets rolling, he's going to do that. He does that in voice chats. So I personally don't, just because I know him. I can see that argument.
Sure.
But it was like 100-to-1 good comments to comments like that on the video itself. I think people understand it. And we're also very passionate. We're very angry too. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what she had been doing beforehand. I probably need to ask Jason about that. If there's a reason, like he caught her trying to do things. I don't know. But I didn't take it that way. But I mean, Jason's a teddy bear, so I don't see him ever being violent. So.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't take it that way either, just because I know how passionate Jason is. I mean, he can raise the level and tone of his voice just talking about Jolly Ranchers, you know? I mean, if it's something he's passionate about, he's going to, you know, that's how he talks. But I will point out that he definitely said, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about who you represent. So, Hulkinator, what do you think? Do you think that there was any way that could be construed as an attack?
Well, no. I think in the end, if you look at his thought process, like you just said, that he was taking it on the people who control her narrative itself. And we all know how well the fake news likes to cherry pick certain sound bites and then put them in a bad light, especially if they're going to make it look bad against anything that has to do with their favorite or non or Trump. So I think she was just taking the brunt of it. But in the end, she's just a tool for another narrative. So it's all part of the game.
Okay. Our doctor?
Yeah, so I watched one of his other videos he dropped earlier, and a man was just a regular camera, not a video camera, walking through the area in the initial beginning of the gathering, and he basically said the same thing. He asked him, "Who are you with?" And he said, "Well, you know, because we want to make sure you are telling the right story and not just taking your nuggets out." So he didn't treat her any differently than him, frankly, But we should expect that they will play the victim card. That's how the Alinskyites think. Yeah. If you try to rise up racist, xenophobe, Chinaphobe, or you're a chauvinist, and she would, I'm sure that clip and anything else that they can get their hands on. I was watching the cameraman, whether or not he was filming Jason, because then they would try to play her victimhood.
Sure.
And push it out to the media. But you have to be careful when you're dealing with these people just for that reason.
Absolutely. Real quick. Yeah. There's a point in the chat that I like seeing that Janet Baker says. She says, "Stop. Would we be upset if and she calls her the Valley Girl reporter was a man? Like, would that be different?" And I think that's a good point to make.
Yeah.
You know, because let's just say that instead of it being a female in a dress that multiple people are saying is attractive, like what was a 6'2" full built dude standing there and Jason was just doing his thing, would it be accepted differently? That's what I'm saying as far as context of the video itself.
Yeah.
I just think about the person who's talking, not the circumstance itself. And Jason, he didn't mean anything by it. I think we're actually giving too much attention to that part anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's the message, you know, and to me it really doesn't matter if it was a woman or a man. I mean, Jason was speaking about a larger issue. Tron? Anything you want to add?
Well, yeah, just quickly. I mean, like today, for instance, you had that reporter from CBS, you know, supposedly that was given the president, you know, raising her voice and wouldn't let the president talk, and the boss comes out and said, "Hey, you just got to quiet down, simmer down a little bit," and that's almost like, you know, now the MSM might come back and be like, "Oh, are you getting upset at the Asian reporter?" So you know, there's always those moves and counter moves, and the MSM, they're going to keep attacking no matter what. Sure.
Space Shot?
Well, I would say if they don't like the attitude, then maybe they should start telling the truth out there. And it's irregardless of a man or a woman, but you know, it's basically what we've been living through. We've been living through, at least, so for most of us, at least the last few years of them completely just spewing everything against President Trump and trying to make everything against him look bad, right?
Sure.
And they're not telling us the truth. I mean, I'm a firm believer that, you know, after seeing all the stuff that we've been seeing, they really need to do focus one part of the time. If they're going to be doing news, they should be obligated to actually tell the truth. Like, they should be like, all right, it should just be like, all right, we're having a chat here on other things. But for news, I don't understand how it got so off that it was actually legalized that they can lie to us in the news. It's beyond ridiculous. So until they fix that, that's it, you know?
It should be about presenting the truth, not about presenting a narrative. And like he said, it's called programming for a reason. Viper Pilot.
Real quick, I'm dropping the YouTube channel chat for Jason, in the chat of Jason, for everybody that's asking for it.
Okay, Viper Pilot 1967 says, "Hi, Methods and Red Pill 78 and all the Titans. Thanks for the prayers. Keep reporting the truth. We are the news now. Love you guys. God bless you all. Where we go one, we go all." Dale Bercier says, "Wow, you managed to get all of my favorite truthers on the same platform. Somebody pinch me, please. Keep up the great work, all of you. Where we go one, we go all." Jeremy Board says, "Sorry about that. You guys all rock. Keep me going." Angry Shamrock says, "You assumed what the girl would do." Again, he's not here. Venom Splat, Rockstar Show tonight. Super comfy. Untitled 82, used sick hours from work just to be here. Love the Tot and crew and RP78 and M3.
Wow.
Glad
That's
you're here, Untitled.
right?
Marianne Rodriguez, "Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thanks, Red Pill and Methods. Your shows are so refreshing. Keep up the great work. Where we go one, we go all. Trump 2020. And Denise, our UK correspondent, says, "Now you are all sitting around the table. Who's carving the turkey? Love you all, and Jason is the bomb." Risa Langdon says, "Absolutely love and appreciate these comfy Sundays. Please continue indefinitely. Love you guys and all your guests tonight." Brian Schnurr says, "Corn to be cut. Indictments coming." This is the next subject we're going to talk about. What a great show. A class act. Love you all. Thank you for that. Angry Shamrock says, "Paul Revere wouldn't attack girls who didn't do anything. No excuse." I think we've addressed it. Red Pills Warhawk, thanks for the money troll. Gaffer Anon, "Celebrating 11 years of marriage today to Mrs. Gaffer Anon. Thanks to Space Shot, I found your channel and beyond. Happy Sports Ball Day." Thank you, Gaffer, and happy anniversary to you and the missus. Kathy Figarelli, thank you for the sticker. Terry says, "Love to all my best 17 friends. Friday was our 50th anniversary. Old people here. Terry, happy anniversary to you and the Mr. as well." John Asturias says, "Happy Red Pill. Hello, Red Pill fam." Sandy Holguin, "Obama administration involved with Fauci and China in releasing the sickness. Is that what POTUS was talking about?" Could be. Q-Wife Maga Life, "I was so sad my furlough officially started today until I remembered this lineup tonight. All my faves together. Much love and thank you to all. Hashtag group hug." And EO2 Dave says, "Great show, guys. Thank you, everybody, for those. We appreciate it." Let's talk about the mini FISA D class that we got this past week. Did all of you have time to go through the documents that were released in depth? Start with Methods.
I went over the cliff notes that great people like Undercover Huber went through. Want to read through it more. I just didn't get time, but I'm sure everybody did.
All right, Hulk, how about you?
A little bit, nothing too exciting. Just been listening to what Solomon's been saying. People in D.C. Have been served subpoenas. They're showing up to talk with Durham. Some of the things he's also said that it's going to be a handful. It's not going to be a bunch, but a little handful, which is good. We just need movement in the right direction, and it's good to see Durham crossing to Delaware, and Lexington, and all that to go over and start bringing these bad actors in to talk. So. I don't know, McCabe, Comey, who else has been going down there and doing some testimony? Is Brennan there? I mean, a lot of these guys have been real silent as of lately. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they brought up that, and I know that we're kind of jumping around Red Pill, but Nunes brought up the clown activities and what they're targeting now. They brought it up this morning on Fox and Friends. So to that point, I mean, all this D-class stuff is kind of focusing on what the FBI did, how they handled the situation, because the investigation was a lot in their purview before they handed it over to Mueller for him to do whatever he was doing and all that. So I think a lot of this focus, and I'll even go as far to say I think any of these impending indictments that we're hearing about, this first set, is going to be very related to the FBI itself. I don't mind being wrong. I would like for it to be higher than that. But, the Comeys, the McCabe's, the Strocks, the Page, like people, that would make a lot of sense to me, because the D-class means that they don't need it for the investigation anymore, like what we've been talking about all week. And now we're focusing on moving further. So if Nunes and his team are already moving towards the clowns, then the FBI has kind of been dealt with behind the scenes for the most part. And I think that we're going to start seeing action on them first. But that's just me. What do you think, Arduck?
Yeah, thanks.
I have not digested all the documents yet, which you would expect that I probably would have, but no, I was busy reading homework for White Hat. We had a great discussion on that last night. But what I found was interesting is when I went in to read Undercover Huber, one of my suggested tweets that popped back up was from 2018 about Priestap going to the UK just right before Papadopoulos, and Papadopoulos has been tweeting about some stuff too. So there's this is all coming together, and what's fascinating is Q gave all of this to us well before this came out, and we are seeing future-proof paths. One thing I will note that I found was fascinating, though, one of the people, no, actually, Hulk, it was you last night that brought it up, that the WikiLeaks document. You want to talk about that with the email?
Yeah, I don't know if somebody wants to bring that up, but I was going through some of the WikiLeaks stuff, and I noticed, I put it in your Discord there, Methods, that the Hillary email, which was clintonemail.corn, and I didn't notice that the ending is not a .com, but it's a .corn. So I just found this one. This is December. Sorry, this is 6/30/2010. Is this email's from? So we know the OIG. Sorry, the IG pointed out that the Comey and Corny, they're misspelled. So it's hard to get freedom of information request on misspelled words, especially stuff coming from Comey. So is this how they're getting around this whole email thing? Because it's not a .com. They can't subpoena that. They have to know the actual ending of the actual domain name.
Yeah, that's, I think they call it kerning, Kerning. And I'd forgotten that term last night. But to me, I can't wait to start digging in and seeing if we can find information or if there's other information out there with this .corn extension. That's going to be interesting.
Space Shot?
Hello there. Yeah, so same as, these guys, I had looked it over, and, just to know that Q has told us this stuff years ago. So when you go back and look at this stuff, like literally every initial is in place. Everyone is right there. Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who messed up the email and all that stuff. And I think you guys might be right. I mean, if we're going with the FBI solely for these indictments, it could be that pile. What was it, 6 or 8? I think it was ended up being 6, and there were additional names on it. But that was like 2018, if you guys remember, through like Nunes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. He had the
Yep.
criminal referrals and all that. Is that what you're talking about?
He had 8,
Yep.
I thought.
Yeah, he had 8 referrals, but he said some were groups of people.
And Q
One of them was Hillary, and the other one there was Stroke and Page were like in one line. So it was kind of like, once you took out the big heads like Hillary out of the way, it would have been like 6 of them.
and there
Which
were
is
7 pictures.
coincidentally what Q posted the other day, showing the 6 placeholders, basically.
Yep.
Tron?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we've been waiting for these indictments for a while, and once they come, I think we're all going to feel a little bit more relieved. But basically, an indictment can have more than one person, and I think it's going to be a group of people. But after this pandemic starts leveling off and starts fading away, and you see these protests, and people are upset right now. So there's more public support for our president, and that's when the public justice is going to come. And that's the most important part, is that for optics, the president is going to look amazing once he takes care of everything with this pandemic, and it's gonna come down hard. It's gonna be amazing. I just can't wait.
I want to say one thing, Red Pill.
Go ahead.
And this is gonna Methods. I'd love you to comment on this because you hold me in check. The post that we got with the Punisher logo just the other day. If you read what that says, A_, the A and the S are broken apart, and Grinnell has been coming down hard. We had Atkinson removed. Shift staff working with Charmella. We know who the whistleblower is. I'm sorry, did I say Charmander?
Yes.
He went Charmander. The fact of the matter, he's linked in with the team that looked at Smolenkoff too. So if they've got that nailed down, you could see Adam Schiff go down, and that would shock and awe. And I saw one of your super chats was talking about shock and awe, so figured I'd bring that up.
Well, I mean, since you asked for me to comment on it, I agree. I'd seen other people mentioning that too, because he was on the Gang of 8, or is on the Gang of 8 for Intel. So all this stuff coming out, especially since Schiff wrote his counter memo to Nunes's memo about all this stuff. So it would make a lot of sense that we keep talking about knowingly. that Schiff knew a lot of this information that's being declassified right now. Knew it, argued against it, went to the media, lied to the people, used it in all the narratives during these hearings. Like, that would make a lot of sense as well. And that's the problem here, is that we can see a lot of these people getting picked up, but we're just talking about a set. So I'm interested to see how they go about the set, because they have to build the story if we're going to build up then to the clowns and getting into the intelligence agencies, the other ones, the clappers and all that stuff. Because I see this as like, if they're going to go down this road, it's going to be narrowing down towards the Obama administration itself. And you need to start with a narrative if you're going to start arresting people and indicting. You know what I mean?
Let me throw this out there, because I keep going back to what Trey Gowdy had said back in 2018, that said history will look far better on Comey than it will Brennan. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think that was I think that they're thinking that that, and it may be true, that the CIA was kind of trying to dupe the FBI, but there's no excuse at this point. There's no backing out of it, because we know, just like Hugh knew 2 years ago, that they were well warned about Christopher Steele at the very least 3 weeks ahead of time by that Cadillac memo saying, no, this guy is not a good source. The information he's giving you is not good. So in the long run, they're both culpable, extremely culpable, and I don't think they have any wiggle room. But also, guys, let's talk. let's bring up too. We got Nancy in the last 2 days too, talking about, can you guys send me like $10? They want to get rid of me, and I haven't heard much about Schiff. And I haven't really seen much about him lately. And I made the stupid comment in my video the other day, oh, I haven't heard from John Brennan since the 2nd. Well, I guess he posted on Twitter 2 days ago talking crap against President Trump. But so he's back in town.
Hey, is somebody filing their fingernails?
Okay. Not me. Not it.
Either that or sanding some wood.
All of us except Hulk had the mute button on.
Busted. I hope you look good, though, Hulk.
No, I wasn't doing nothing, honestly. I was watching, listening.
Those cuticles.
But let's get back to this Comey thing.
Well, he's got to go through super chats, and I also want to say, hey, we got 6,800 people here hanging out. I see 2.3 thousand likes. So if you can click that like button for us, that'd be great. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Hulk will pick up with you after we go through these. Ruck Castle says, just blessed to be here now. Thanks for all you guys do. Hey, Jude says, Lindsey Graham suggested that Bill Gates should be the head of the new head of the WHO. Any thoughts? Risa Langdon says, was a miracle when POTUS stated every man and woman will receive a stimulus check. Then poof, we were back to 2 genders. Gino says, I think I'm on the wrong channel. I thought the guy with the glasses was Sir Elton John. Where's the phone number to donate to who? Love to all the all-star cast. Thanks, Gino. Steve Dickman says, Trump also counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jason, my Patriot hero of the day. Honorable mentions, Simone and Muffet. That's right. John House says, remember, our favorite Anon stated the first indictment will rock the world. Scott Griggs says, you've always had great people on here. When are you getting President Trump as a guest? Haha, I love your work, guys. That would be the absolute penultimate guest that I could ever possibly have. If anybody has a direct connection to the president, please let him know. I would love him to come on the show. Marie Stearns, thank you for that. Dogs at Play says, news is not supposed to report the truth. News reports facts, who, what, where, when, and the facts lead to the truth. Even our news should not be considered the truth, only true. Well, I guess I was thinking that facts are objectively true, but I understand your point. Miss KS Mom says, blessings, Patriots. Daro Bruno says, RPM3 in the Table of Titans. This is like the Batman Green Hornet crossover episode. Where's Robin? That's great. Well, I mean, that would have to be Tron. He's the youngin' of the group. Linda Vask, thank you for joining as a member. And Raven Haber says, wow, the creme de la creme on now. You guys rock the Casbah. Thank you so much, guys. All right, Hulk, what was the point you wanted to make?
Wait, before you do it, Hulk, actually, Tron is me in the current time. I'm him in the future. And so just to let you know, this is like the baby Q thing, just FYI.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, you just opened me up to attack, Hulk. Hulk,
thank you. Hulk, whatever you had to say, just go with it, man. Just go.
I have no idea where I was going to go with it. So we'll go on somewhere else. The one I did want to make a part on is Trump going to keep his promise? Because remember back in 2016, saying on the stage with Hillary, and she made the comment about glad he's not in charge. He's all, if I was, you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
So do you think Trump has to keep his promise for everything he said before the 4 years are up? And I wanted to get your guys' opinion on there, because he keeps his promise, and he wants to make sure it sticks, but he wants to make sure everybody's paying attention. Red Pill, what do you think?
Well, before you jump, I want to ask the chat so they can be involved.
Okay.
Give me a 1 if it's smart for Trump to go ahead and have her arrested before the election. Give me a 2 if it's smart to wait after. Go ahead, Rico.
So my the point that I wanted to make that I was already going to bring into this is that I thought it was very interesting that we've got this, supposed, anticipation of indictments being fulfilled in this next week. And also, virtually at the same time, we have Hillary Clinton having 2 major losses. The State Department not backing her up and letting Judicial Watch go ahead and depose her. And then the judge also giving access to Judicial Watch for all of those emails in multiple Gmail accounts. We had 2 Carter Heavy Industry Gmail accounts that what's his name, the guy with the bleach pit guy, Stone Tier, had been at the I can't remember the name of the place, you guys. the place that was holding on to her emails, and then he transferred them all over to those 2 Gmail accounts. So this could be the precursor to the information that brings about that HRC arrest, and I definitely think that it needs to happen before the election. That's how I feel about it. But anybody else want to take a shot?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump on real quick. Yeah. I can make arguments for both, but I think if you start in the orbit and start arresting people, but you're talking about who paid for the dossier, you know what I mean? If you were to pick up a Podesta, you know what I mean, being the campaign manager, go down that road. And like I said, I think it's smart to work from the out in. I could see that, but in turn, we're talking about Trump here. So what better way than him to say, hey, well, I promised it, you know what I mean, and go for it. So I'd like to see 1, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 2.
All right, Hulk.
That was my question, but I'll come back and answer it. But,
See,
my question is do you think they're going to focus on Secretary of State stuff tied into Obama, or are they going to keep it nice and neat and just focus on the Clinton Foundation and leave the government stuff behind? They can kind of separate the 2 and take out one person just tied into the foundation.
I think that they can and probably will separate them just for matters of, making sure that they get everybody for everything. But I also think that they are inextricably linked. They're not going to be able to separate them because one inevitably leads to the other. So perhaps multiple charges, multiple trials, individual people being tried and charged. But, they're all going to connect to each other. And I think that that's going to be the biggest surprise to the people who have not been paying attention this whole time. Tron, what about you?
Well, yeah, America and the world definitely wants to see justice come to Evergreen. And, I'm guessing, the second term is when the fireworks are going to happen. But, I pray that she doesn't go the way of No Name and Bush Sr. and get the easy way out. She needs to be held to the tribunals and a full investigation and all out there for everyone to see. And then that way it's, us as patriots and the world, we're going to feel a lot better that way because, she can't go out easy.
No. And just before we go on to Space Shot, I want to say hello to our brother Matthew at Truth Not Fiction Matters. Glad you're here, buddy. Space Shot, what are your thoughts?
I don't know about if, she would be the first to go, but if he's going to do it, he needs to do it before she latches on to any sort of party. If he happened to be, a vice president nominee for Biden, I would think, he needs to do it before that, because then it's going to be like, oh, well, you're going to lose to her. Yeah, right. Wink, wink. And that's why you're trying to take her out. Right. So I think that's pretty much where my feelings lie on that one.
All right. Ardoc.
Sorry, I was sending a message to Methods from Mandy Masters in the chat.
I was going to talk about that. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
She says, and 3, Tron has the sexiest voice of all. Are you giving that award away tonight, Red Pill?
Thanks, Mandy. Love you, Mandy.
In terms of arrests and whatever, I mean, you got to think worldwide. A lot of people get stuck in just U.S. politics. And I don't know how many times Q has said it's not about Republican versus Democrat. It's not about religion. It's not about race. It's a worldwide evil group of people that are doing this. So is Hillary Clinton one of those? Yes. Can you take down the top, the head? Who is the head? Do we even know? I don't think we know who the head is.
Yeah.
And so you have to do this in a very systematic way. And this is something been going on, some of us believe for thousands of years. And we want it now. We're so conditioned. I want it now. They've got to start somewhere. And I think we are all ready for them to start. Hell, I went through my neon revolt period. What was that? Whole 12 of 18 or whatever it was. Yeah. Yep. And we are all ready for it, but we've got to learn to trust, and we got to trust God. That's who we got to trust. Not a man in an office. We trust that God is going to have this in and work this out. And that's where I come down on it.
Let me sprinkle a little bit on top of that, because obviously we know patriots are control. They always want to have a fair fight. Patriots don't like to cheat. So they're going to make sure that the election coming up is going to be even and fair for everybody, but they can't cheat at it. So they can't guarantee that Trump is going to win. They're going to give America a fair chance to pick the next president. And we all know Barr, Durham, all those guys right there can't rely on the 2020 election going to Trump. And that's another thing I keep thinking about, because there's a chance he could lose and then the entire plan goes away. So I keep coming back to that thought. Something would have to happen in small red pill events as we come up to 2020 election.
All right. And once again, thank you, Matthew. JG says, has it occurred to anyone else that China might have sacrificed Wuhan and it's old and weak in order to attack the rest of the world? I certainly have considered it. We've talked about it a bit on the program. We'll get your thoughts in a moment, guys. Norman Ingram says, where we go one, we go all worldwide. We are a digital army, but you are all great leaders in our ranks. God bless you all. We are the news now. Norman, thank you for that, but we are all equal here in this fight. Sue Randall says, if Hillary is arrested, it will be for her paying for the coup, treason, and sedition. I kind of agree on that. Chris Hawkins says, you usually do have great guests. Yeah, every now and then, nobody bats 100, buddy. Candace Stav says, watch Dr. Mikovits talk about Fauci fraud on Twitter. Dr. Mikovits is going to be a guest here in just a few weeks, so we'll talk about that in detail when she joins us, and then you guys can ask her your questions. Dale Bercier says, can you please have Tron say Q in his sexy voice? We're going to start with you, Tron. Tell me. Just say Q.
You have more than you know. Q.
All right, great. So let's talk a little bit about the plandemic, okay? CV-19. Remember to call it CV-19. Thus far, I have avoided getting a Wikipedia entry under any of my videos. Both President Trump and Devin Nunes recently have spoken publicly about the possibility that there was some level of engineering in this situation that we find ourselves in. What do you guys think? Tron, I want to know if what you believe about this, and if you think that something is going to come up that's going to show that we can prove that this was engineered and that China didn't matter, blowing Wuhan off the map because it was going to hurt us eventually.
Well, that's the whole thing about that. We knew this was coming. We knew this was staged. And I love how the president keeps hinting at it, and we'll find out, and this and that. And back to the MSM about how horrible they are. But you take in the fact that there's reporters in those pressers that are asking the right questions. So that OAN reporter, she had a little smile on her face, and she's beautiful. But and POTUS said, wait, say that again. How many million to the lab? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll find out about that. So again, future proofs past. Back to Barack. Barack mentioned that before there might be in 5 or 10 years this virus that comes out, and like the Spanish flu, and we knew Bill Gates was talking about it. So again, POTUS is 5 steps ahead. We were prepared for this, and thank God that he shut the borders down when he did, and he keeps telling them that, and people are listening, guys. People are at home, they're pissed off, they're not working, their eyes are open, and this is the perfect time for this to all come out.
All right, Space Shot? Or
yep, just gotta hit that mute. I just don't want to be breathing there. I don't want to be a mouth breather around here. But yeah, I think it was pretty clear early on that President Trump had his own viewpoints and was letting them know, I think it's going to be a thing of the past pretty soon. But like Tron said, he's very correct that we're all kind of pissed off. We're cooped in our houses. A lot of people are not working right now. What's a better time than now to get this out in the open? And I think we're getting really good reports. The top virologist that was on Ingram the other day talking about how most of these people, they're taking 2 to 4 days of that azithromycin and hydroxychloroquine,
Yep.
and they're basically fine after that. So, and I think that he knew it early on, and it's almost like he's letting the battle between the vaccine and the cure fight each other out on mainstream news not even mainstream news, during these pressers, which, by the way, CNN keeps kicking off to the side, right?
Mm-hmm. Ardoc?
So here's what we know. We know that the WHO issued their statement on January 9th, stating that the Chinese had sequenced the genome of the COVID-2 virus. They knew then the phenology, phylotype of this virus, and that it was very right next to SARS and right next to MERS. Okay, so that's CoV-1, and that's the Middle East virus. Those are all transmittable by human. Then in that same article, they pushed out that, hey, we are aware that people were traveling out of Wuhan the week before, and we know that they traveled the week after. And then in the same article, they said, hey, face-to-face transmission is not going to be happening. People are showing up at airports and they're being screened if they come up with pneumonia-like illnesses. So the screening was going on. Shut up, fake news. You're lying. January 9th. Okay. That's a lie. All that's a lie, because this thing was sequenced. Now that they're saying this came from the lab, that means it was sequenced in the lab. That means they knew exactly what it was. So even if you buy the January 9th date, the WHO is complicit and China's complicit for spreading falsehoods, because they knew what kind of virus it was immediately. They knew what down to the A's and T's and G's, what was different in it and what was not, and how it would work on the ACE2 receptor. Everything else that came out of the WHO after that point then is BS and complicit. Prior to that, though, now that we know, with the help of people like White Hat, we got some information that this did come out of the lab. We looked at a BSL level 4 facility the other day on the show. A BSL level 4 facility, intern. There's no such thing as an intern. That conscious level thing is not real. These are people that are trained scientists that work in BS level 2 and 3, and she is going through probably a multi-year deal to learn how to work in a BS level 4. But the exposure risk of getting anything out of that facility is like zero. So for them to say the story now, the official story coming out of China, now shuts the WHO narrative down. That January 9th date now predates that and goes back at least to the beginning of December. Mm-hmm. They're lying. And that's what Trump called him on today during the presser, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hulkinator?
We all saw the videos in December and even in beginning of November of over in China, people getting welded into their house. We had, people getting put in those little quarantine boxes in China. We know nothing comes out of China unless it's part of state media. So we can't really believe everything that's coming out of the state media. But when they're cozying up to the WHO to protect themselves, and WHO was just a few days of paying out that big fund that they had to pay out for 12% on $500 billion that they were going to pay out, but they had a pandemic, and guess what? They didn't have to pay out any of that money, which seems to line up with what China's been doing. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a setup in the beginning. Was it bioengineered? Yes. Was it going to take out older people that have lung problems or all that? I think yes, and it could be a punishment for China signing the phase 1 trade deal. That all kind of lined up all together, and that's the way I'm looking at it, because every country's got a white hat and a black hat, and the cabal that doesn't want us to win. Basically, that's the way I'm looking at it.
Hey, Red Pill, I want to throw one more thing in there just to remind people. And if you paid attention to what Rudy Giuliani was talking about in his videos back in this time period, right during the impeachment, right at the beginning of the Senate impeachment, all those dates now are suspect. Biden got charged in Ukraine by the investigators. That case is still going on. It's been put on pause. What did Q say happens anytime there's bad news for the Democrats? False flag.
All right, Methods, any thoughts?
All great points. These guys are on it. I'll just add, I'm interested to see how this plays out with these medicine trials, because, with our favorite Anon pointing at, what could come of this medicine and stuff like that. And we've seen other research around this medication being tied to things like helping solve the cancer issue and all that stuff. I'm interested to see what could, quote unquote, miraculously come out of, well, we were doing this testing and, we found the cure for X, Y, and Z. And this could be something interesting. So I'm following that. And the only other point I'll make, I just saw it in the chat, complete change of subject. I am not Sarah Carter's brother. That's a new
What?
That's a new one.
How's that going around?
I don't know where it came from, but I saw it earlier, and it's just been in the back of my head. I am not her brother. I'll take it as a compliment, I guess. But yeah, that's it, man. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. I lost my place because of Simone. Oh, no, honey, you can't get on this jacket. Can't get on
Hey,
this
Red Pill,
jacket.
I'll just add one thing quick while you get your kitty cat out of your face.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Remember at the press, it wasn't a presser, it was at the White House when they were talking about the hydroxychloroquine, and the other lady that was in there, she was like, yeah, and it's actually good for Lyme too. So they are finding out that it's good for, I guess, curing other things already.
Good stuff. All right. Neo says, if DJT came on the show, what would you ask him? Would you ask him the Q? Love and prayers for you all. There are so many things I would ask him. And yes, definitely I would ask him the Q. Faith and Freedom says, a whole lot of awesomeness on my TV tonight. This is exactly what 17 wanted us to do. Think how far collectively we've come in just a few years. Thank you to all you guys. Where we go one, we go all. Whatever S says, hey guys, love you all. This is my second comfy, but follow you all on Twitter. Loved the interview last night. I do watch RP78 every interview. Tron, love your videos. Prayers to all. Where we go one, we go all. Charlie Rose says, what do you think about Ryan Dawson and Gus' work? Great job, guys. Love from Canada. I've seen plenty of shows with Ryan Dawson, and as long as it's the Ryan Dawson I'm thinking it is, he's not that big of a fan of President Trump, and he seems to think that the war hawks, the neocons, have taken over. I think Ryan will be proven wrong. I think Ryan is a good researcher, but I think that he's a little misguided on some issues. But are you guys familiar with Ryan Dawson's work on YouTube?
I am not personally, but I mean, I know what you're talking about as far as the type. It doesn't matter what person's in the presidency. That person is a shill, and they're controlled by such and such. And you know what? If we always have that mindset, then we'll never be able to get anybody in there to do what needs to be done, what President Trump's doing right now, right?
Sure. Then Banshee Bane says, let's just win the war. We can take care of unfinished business later. I absolutely agree. I mean, we just have a couple of things that we need to progress on. And then, the trials themselves, that's probably going to take some time. Big Bear says, would it be great to see Obama and HRC do the shekel shuffle as the first arrest? Yes, that would be an incredible sight. Gino says, after the harvested corn post, I thought Twitter was going to light up. I hardly saw anyone tweeting about it. Am I missing something? Seemed to me that Comey's day is close. Yeah, we can talk about that. I believe that that's one of the reasons why I thought that obviously this was coming pretty quickly, because we've been talking about harvesting corn for a long time. We get a picture of harvested corn, and we have John Solomon dropping the fact that indictments are about to take shape. We have the 6 placeholders from our favorite Anon. Methods, what do you think?
Well, yeah, and Grassley has also been, he brought it up recently on Instagram again, and we know the whole season before with the corn stuff. So, yeah, no, it's definitely, that's why I'm bringing up the FBI, trying to just keep things conservative as far as how far this first set goes, because, there's going to be we'll now do Hillary next. You know what I mean? If it's not her. So I'm trying to keep it there. I'd love to see more, but my expectations are going to be in the FBI realm and all that. But hey, we're dancing close to 7,000 people watching. I see 3.3 thousand likes. Click that like button for us, y'all.
Please do, guys. Please do. And then I want to get your thoughts on that as well, guys. But Zoso Dude 77, can you imagine how awesome it would be if the 6 of you got to ask the questions at Trump pressers? Yeah, that would be wicked. Rockin' Robbie says, could NP also be hiding to avoid other things? Could NP? Tell me if you guys know what the initials.
Pelosi.
Oh,
Pelosi,
Nancy. Very, very well could be. I mean, I think she's, one of the big things is that it stalls progress in Washington. I mean, if she's not there, they're not going to vote on anything. The longer that this takes hold of the country, the deeper into economic recession we go, the harder it's going to be to bring us back out of it. And therefore, they think that they're going to make the president look worse. Jane Hodnett, thank you for that. T. Spinharney, thanks for your time, guys. Inga Hicks, what is the Fort Detrick connection to the virus? I've heard that the virus was also in the military lab as well, but it was sequenced there too. Scott Crouch, one if by land, two if by sea, is a restaurant in New York. Oh, thoughts?
That
Scott,
was interesting.
Yeah, Scott Griggs, if you had your wish, what phrase would you love President Trump to say in a press briefing? That would be amazing. You guys have any particular thing you'd like President Trump to say?
I'll be safe about it and just say, where we go one, we go all.
Yeah.
I'll take the my fellow Americans. Over the course of the next few days, you will undoubtedly realize we are taking back America from our evil blah blah blah. That's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, Ardoc.
I would ask the president, were you recruited before you announced? Take me through that process. I want to know that.
You guys, Methods, I need you to pass it over to you, buddy. The dogs need to go outside.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I will kind of change my answer. I would absolutely love for like a CNN or somebody to ask a question, and then for him to just shake his head and tell them to lurk more, and then just move on. That would be my personal favorite. All right. Well, since he's got to step away, I wanted to make sure we had time for this because Tron, even though you have been now, how long have you been over with Table of Titans? I remember you being new when I was over there. How long have you been hanging out with the boys over there?
Maybe a month or so? Yeah, I went on when you were on the last time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So are you doing that more consistently now?
Yeah, I think every Thursday, as long as they keep inviting me, I'll be there. Yeah.
I'm kind of doxing how much I listen. I need to listen more because you guys are great. But with that said, I want people to know over here on this channel, because you're a great researcher. You hang out with all of us. You're very adamant on, getting to a point when you're researching. There's something to be found and you find it. I want people over here on this channel to know who Tron is. So why don't you give a little background for everybody here?
Well, Tron is a patriot. I've been doing this since the beginning. I found Q on the boards while looking into the Las Vegas shooting, and that was around the time when Q started dropping. And ever since then, I've been, I admit I've been addicted. I've taken some time off here and there, but I'm mostly here for the comms and the deltas and the crumbs that we get from Scavino and POTUS's tweets and Future Proof's past and there's even a lot of crumbs that are before Q that are on the boards that some people don't realize. So I'm actually working with a couple people to go back before Q and to see if Q was actually dropping a here and there, because I found some Looking Glass posts before Q that are really, really interesting. And I got to give a shout out to Ardoc. You're the one that got me to do these videos with those Looking Glass. That one day on Patriot News when you came out and was like, I got it, the map. Hillary as a child was arrested. She was arrested as a child from her past because she had the Looking Glass in Saudi Arabia. And man, that just gets me going with that kind of stuff. But I'm always looking at the crumbs, and I'm telling you, Ivanka's my favorite. And if I were to ask the president something, I'd be like, hey, take me in your time machine. Let's go back in time. Let me date your daughter and make Jared, not even.
All right. Well, on that note, I am dropping your Twitter here in the chat. If you don't mind, are you signed into YouTube right now?
Yeah.
Can you drop your YouTube for me real quick? Just drop it a few times so people can see it, because I know people are asking about it. I personally love your videos. I think you do great work. So you said that you're around in the beginning, but I've been seeing your name trending, as in people keep sending me your stuff over the last, I'd say, like 3 or 4 months. Now, it's hard to keep up with everybody, but with that said, have you been Tron since the beginning? And you've been working your way through and all that stuff, and some of these videos are catching up? Or how recently did you become more, predominant on Twitter and YouTube and hanging out with the Hulk boys?
Yeah, so I was on Twitter about maybe 6 months after Q on an old account. Then I had to switch because of the shadow banning. But basically, you know, I've been doing this for a while, a lot of tweets, a lot of, you know, the crumb information and what we do on Patriot News. We work together and come up with some great ideas. But just recently, in January, I decided to start making videos because we had a conversation with some patriots about, you know, what if Twitter goes down, net shutdown, all this kind of stuff. I want to have a backup. I want to have something to show to, you know, to the world, to America, and even my kids. Like, you know, life is too short. You never know what's going to happen. And how cool would it be to show your family that, you know, you are a true patriot and you were there during this battle. But yeah, the whole video thing is new. And it started with that Ivanka video where she's dressing like Nellie Bly from that book, A Race Around the World, which was a book published in 2019, I believe, but it has to do with a character back in like the 1900s about a woman that races around the world faster than the Jules Verne character in that book, and all those similarities. And that, I mean, when I saw that, her dressing like this character, almost hinting through this crumb that there is a future-proof past. And I'm not saying time travel exactly, but she's hinting at this, you know, playing with this you know, kind of time shift. So I took all those crumbs in my you know, Twitter, and I had like, you know, 30 or 50 retweets. You know, it got some interest. But then when I made the video and explained it well and made the connections to her trip in Paris and you know, what she was wearing and all these other similarities with the yellow heart and once you tell, you know, all these crumbs, they tell a story. And it's amazing because when I made that video, half of the people that saw it couldn't stand Donald Trump, but somehow it got posted in some time travel Facebook page, and people started going to it and loving it. And now they start asking the question, wait, who's this Q? Like, we love this Ivanka thing. I can't stand our president, but what's QAnon? What is this? So now you're starting to bridge the gap, and that's what I love is bringing people over. But yeah, I'm just, you know, the videos that they tell a story with the crumbs, and it's most of the time it's fun, but it's a lot of work, and I love it.
Yeah, methods. So Tron is what happens after 2.5 years of listening and being around RDoc talking all the time over on Patriot News. Okay. And he has been there with me, and we've been sharing, and he helps me put things together. And I can remember I'm looking at the information, that Red October post, and going back to that, and all of a sudden, like, it clicked. The freaking map. It is a link through time, not just of the events that have been forecasted to happen in the future, but looking back at events in the past and how they've been manipulating things all the way to get to their plan. It's fascinating. And so for people ask, what's the map? What's the map? Think time, think linkage, and follow the post forwards and backwards in time. And when Tron took it and he ran with it, and he's done an incredible job with it.
What did I miss?
No, well, we went ahead and did the background on where Tron got started in the movement and all that stuff. Since he's new to this channel. Yeah. As far as Red Pill goes, I am dropping his YouTube in the chat. Make sure everybody go subscribe. And to Ardoc's point, if anybody can solve Ardoc's riddles and make it through and understand it, they're good in my book. Because everybody knows R decodes as Riddler Doctor. Oh,
you guys, apparently I forgot to mute the mic to the audience, so they heard me talking about the cat farting in here.
No. You took the dogs out and you came back. Yeah, you took the dogs out and you came back. We were talking about time travel.
That's so funny.
Right. Didn't take long.
Hey, just wait, Methods, until Corin and I start talking and we start doing more videos after you guys have your show. Then people are going to be like, oh my God, there's two of them.
Right. Well, I guess that's a great opportunity to announce who's on next week, since Ardoc stole the thunder away.
Yeah, thanks, Ardoc.
What? I thought you announced it.
No, we haven't announced it yet, dude.
We have not announced it.
Oh my God.
But we'll go ahead. And real quick, to JFK Patriot, who says, where do we donate to Methods? That reminds me, I want to thank everybody who's hit up my PayPal this week. It's been brought up a few times. I really, really appreciate it. It's in the information of this video below. You're helping because I'm trying to, move forward and stuff, and I'm about to upgrade my entire system so we can do a lot more for you guys in the future. So I appreciate it, but it's in the info below and all that stuff. But yeah, man, go ahead, Red Pill. Who are we having next week?
Cora Nemec is going to be on next week from Fox's Parker Lewis Can't Lose from the 80s or the 90s, excuse me. But he's done a lot more than just that. But that's how I became aware of him. He was also in The Stand, Stephen King's The Stand, when it was a miniseries on I don't know what channel it was, but I thought it was pretty interesting that he was in a show that was an adaptation of a novel about a pandemic, and then we're in the midst of one right now. But he's super cool. He is a Hollywood escapee, no longer living there, and totally working outside of the mainstream system. And let me tell you, this guy has a lot of knowledge. He's a really deep thinker, and we're going to have so much to discuss. We're going to talk about his story, things that he's experienced throughout the years, some serious Hollywood stuff that we've all been wondering for a long time, and then also a lot more. It's going to get really deep.
Don't forget Stargate SG-1. That's Jonas Quinn.
I got to be honest. I never saw Stargate SG-1.
Oh my God!
Yeah. People used to tell me I looked people told me I looked like James Spader in the original Stargate because I had like longer hair at one time. But I never watched Stargate SG-1. I know it has a diehard following among some people.
Oh, I got nothing. We can move on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So don't miss us next week. Cora Nemec, he's a great guy, and we're going to have a lot to talk about. He is going to do the full 2 hours with us. So we're going to have, the first hour with him, and then in the second hour, we're going to take calls. So you guys can ask him any question that you want. Like I said, he has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, so it's going to be a great show. Let me do a couple of these thank yous real quick. Need to say thank you to Jane Hodnett and T. Spin Harney, Inga Hicks, thank you again. Scott Crouch, thank you again. Scott Griggs, if you had your wish, I already said that one. Hillbilly, did you imagine in 2017 that you would have over 7,000 people watching? We are the news now. Absolutely not. I was thinking about making videos back in 2017, but I would never have believed that this would be happening. So I appreciate you guys being here. Seize the Day 9/11, thank you for joining as a member. Brian says, sharing the Trump check with some good people. Thoughts on what POTUS said about Flynn today? That's an excellent subject to talk about next. Angela Jones, I would like to know everyone's take on time travel. Do you think it's a play on the plan? Brian Schur asks about RBG. Diane Rain 1, Red Pill, thank you for giving Simone her shoulder spotlight. Methods, when you ask for likes, it goes up by 1,000. That's great.
Well, hey, everybody click that like button for us.
Go for it. Sherry Mullen, Reno DeGucci, and Texas Doc Pritch 8404 all joining as members. Marcella C. signed the petition to have Bill Gates investigated. I'll see if I can find the link if somebody wants to tag me on Twitter. Jason of the Great Awakening. Coincidence, we are taught to trust the WHO, a cabal of doctors just like 30s and 40s Germany, 50s plus Paperclip, MK Ultra, and modern Nexium. PB and J, thank you for joining as a member. Grandma Linda, why can't I hear this on Patriot News also? Well, because we're on this channel right now. We'll do a show on Patriot News special for that. Ascension 2012X, thank you for that as well. So let's go to that one about our thoughts on POTUS bringing up Flynn today. Start with Space Shot.
I thought that was absolutely awesome because we know that he was railroaded, very similar to how President Trump was railroaded. And once he got Sidney Powell on the scene that didn't have any conflicts of interest as his previous law firm did, which looked like they were actually setting him up on top of the FBI, ambushing and setting him up. I'm just happy to see that he's starting to talk about it a little bit more publicly. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, because they were asking him if people weren't aware, they were saying, have you thought about, helping out, what was it, Manafort? They were talking about Manafort and Roger Stone about getting them out. And then he brought up Flynn as well. What had happened to these people, that their lives had got ruined. So I don't know that he's going to, help Manafort and Stone get out of jail. But I do believe that if it were to come down to it, he would definitely vindicate General Flynn.
All right. Tron?
Yeah, so Flynn is definitely, coming to the picture a lot more. On March 15th of 2020, POTUS has a tweet about strongly considering a full pardon, and now he mentions it today. And the Q post 1280 on April 27th of 2018 says, done in 30 in the box. And then why would Flynn plead guilty to something untrue? Define testimony, define on record. Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn is safe. Expand your thinking. Q. So that's awesome. That's April 27th of 2018, and yeah, justice will be served, and that's Flynn is a true patriot, and it's going to happen.
Absolutely. Ardoc, any thoughts?
Had to get the cursor over there.
Quit your messaging. We're on a show here.
I'm timed out. What are you talking about? And so this, I thought the word that came to mind, absolute. Trump talked in absolutes. I didn't hear him saying, well, maybe, or that it was absolutes. And I think I have to go back and listen to it again. I think he said something like, you'll find out soon, or something along those lines. And that 2-year Deltatron is coming up, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, and he made a comment as well that he wasn't going to tell the press what he was going to do about it. I mean, he really said that Flynn had been railroaded. They sought him out to take him out. People loved and respected him until all of a sudden they tried to go after him. Hulkinator? Are you
button? Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Well, we all know that Powell is trying to get the court to dismiss all the charges. And we've already pleaded guilty, and the judge has given him many chances to change the plea. And they don't want to, because they want him to drop the charges, because it comes back into the Russia collusion. Remember, this is all about Flynn not remembering the 4 or 5 phone calls he made on that one day with Peter Strzok, and I can't remember the other investigators that are doing that tour through the White House at the same time. So I think this ties in with the Russia collusion, because if it's not Russia collusion, this ties in Seth Rich. This goes back to emails. That's why this done in 30, I had no idea it was going to be 30 months by the time we got to the answer of this thing. So we'll find out shortly, but I don't think this is one of our first pieces we're going to be dealing with quite yet. I think Flynn's story is going to be a little bit longer along before we get to the meat of it.
I tend to agree. Methods, any thoughts?
I mean, they're on point with it. I think if they can explain how he was targeted in the midst of our president being targeted, Carter Page being targeted, if the news ever really gets talked about with Cruz being targeted, because that's a whole other story, because they were targeting their best way during the election to win. And, you know, they go after Flynn and all that stuff, and him being exonerated and being able to speak his mind and go on the record, go under oath, whatever, and explain what he knows and what he was trying to do, because he was ready to go ahead and just take care of the intel community, strip the fat away, get rid of all this mess that Obama and everybody had put in. Like, to have Flynn be able to speak freely and then ride off into the sunset would be the most beautiful thing to happen, because Flynn deserves it. I know a lot of people would like to see him get plugged back into the administration, but I also wouldn't blame him at all if he just helped out, explain, put the truth out there, help things to be understood what happened during the Obama administration, and then go about his way.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, President Trump made it pretty clear that General Flynn has been treated unfairly. You know, I mean, it's not too late also for the Justice Department under Bill Barr to come and say, you know, hand him blanket immunity for anything that he knows that went down in the Obama administration. And, you know, that way he would have everything here taken care of, and then he could just speak freely about what's going on and what took place. And then this can also tie in easily to the emails that belong to Hillary Clinton, because, again, everything that she did was connected directly to the Obama administration. And then also, hang on, there was another one that I wanted to ask you guys about. Oh, time travel. What do you guys think about time travel? Is that what you were talking about earlier? The super chat? Was that why you were talking about it?
I was going to ask, you know, as I was actually looking it up because I forgot the terminology, but when they were talking about, you know, Hillary getting arrested when she was younger in Saudi Arabia or whatever, I was going to ask Ardoc and Tron what they thought about the Mandela effect. Is that affecting people? Are they currently still going back and still changing timelines?
No resets allowed is what I've picked up in various different pieces of information. No more resets allowed.
Yeah, well, to piggyback off that a little bit, combining that with Flynn, about 5 months ago, General Flynn actually liked a tweet that says, "Is this proof Donald Trump is a time traveler?" So I thought that was super cool. That was awesome.
That's pretty incredible. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Scott Crouch asks, Red Pill, can you please say hi to my wife, Carrie? Thanks. Hi, Carrie Crouch. Thank you for being here tonight. I hope you and Scott are having a lovely evening, and I hope you're cuddling on the couch. Candace Estav says, are we paying the fake IRS this year? Yeah. What have you guys heard anything else about President Trump and putting a kibosh on payroll taxes for the rest of the year? Has anybody heard any follow-up on that?
I think they should give it to all the Anons out there not to pay taxes anymore. Ever.
Sure.
Just kind of like the movie out there. It might come out that he had talked about it, boasted about it, but I think they went with the check handoff to do it quicker and not wait 4 or 6 months for people to collect that money up from taxes. It would definitely give people a good eye-opening peek of where their taxes actually go and how big of a chunk that actually is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a few $100s a month, that's huge.
I was going to say, Methods, what did you take in the presser today? Because I think there were several questions asked, and he mentioned a couple things about they're working on this and they don't really want to get ahead on certain issues related to economic stimulus.
Right. I mean, I caught a lot more of the, putting the media in their place part of those things. We were doing our pre-show before we decided to push the show back, and I was then talking to my wife a little bit. So I don't know exactly what you're referring to. So if you can catch me up.
Sure.
Yeah, or Red Pill, maybe. I just didn't want to hog the mic, so I figured I'd let you guys answer the question. But yeah. I thought he said very poignant things when asked similar questions by the press.
And I just want to say hello to God's Guy and Gina Girl because I saw them out there in the chat a moment ago. My girlfriend, Real Red Pill Girlfriend XO, says growl like Chi-Chi for everyone. Okay, so this is what he does. Just like that.
Like a mini
growl.
Chewbacca.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to a Chewbacca, but I mean, he's like this large. So Philip says, what kind of refrigerator did Nancy Pelosi have? I'm just curious. I heard it was $25,000. I have no idea. It must be some type of like a refrigerator that's meant for a restaurant or something. Like $1,000 refrigerator is really nice. I can't imagine a $25,000 refrigerator. Hannah BR12, begin with Zoros and Bummer together with HRC before elections would be great. Oh, yeah. So getting George Sorosky and then Barry Obama arrested prior to Hillary Clinton. But I tend to think that, this is going to roll uphill. Like, I would imagine that if HRC was arrested first, she would immediately look to see who she could give information on so that she could save her own skin. Space Shot, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Usually, they'll go to the lower people and see if they can rat on the person above them and above them. But, with what Q and the team's been saying, for a couple of years, we have it all. I mean, we know that these people are funded. We know, like, for example, Obama was put in his place by Saudi Arabia, by bin Talal, back in like 78, and all these people have their finance. And I truly believe they do have it all, and they have all of the information. So maybe they'll play this game where they get them in there and say, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want to do for us? What can you do for us? And well, this person does. Yeah, sorry, we already got that. So you're still going. Sorry, honey. I have no love lost for these people at all.
All right, we have an answer. 2 Sub-Zero commercial refrigerators valued at $12,500 each. Still very impressive. Tron?
Yeah, I mean, last time I was in Home Depot, I never saw a $25,000 refrigerator. And she's got that Talenti ice cream, which is good. You got to catch it on sale. But yeah, I can't wait for the arrests to start happening. And Soros would be great because it's all about the puppet masters. And back to what Hulk was saying about the Clinton Foundation. Once you start following the money and start getting them on the money, then everything else falls into place. So let's see it happen. Let's let him get the handcuffs on, and he'll need little extra handcuffs for those bags under his eyes too.
Well, it's not inconceivable to think that George could be one of the first arrests. I mean, we could have a situation like, wasn't it Hungary where he was actually charged, or was it another Eastern European country?
Russia. He's not allowed to be, and Soros, just for everybody to understand, Soros is reserved for Putin. It's not going to be ours. That's
really?
Not our arrest. Yeah. And Q says there's a special place reserved for him. That's Putin. Russia and Putin get to take care of Soros.
Can you tell us why you think that?
Yeah, you're making bold statements there. Aren't
Yeah.
you?
Oh,
Sauce.
come on.
Yeah,
Sauce.
I thought
sauce.
special place was Camp David.
Oh.
Remember special place Camp David?
No.
He had the West Wing at Gitmo. That's what I thought.
So Putin has always wanted to take care of Georgy Schwartz. Okay, Schwartz has tried to do things in Russia for a long time, and Russia booted him out. If he ever comes there, he gets arrested. Hungary did some things. Orban and Poland. Ukraine is the next thing that has to be dealt with, and there's some things happening there. As a matter of fact, because his guy Ryabashapka, the general prosecutor, like our attorney general, was let go just a month or so ago. So there's things happening there. Get ready, folks. Ukraine's going to come back in the news in another month or so. Just get ready.
I want to hear about that a little bit more detail. Real quick, I just need to say thank you to Stacy M. What do you think about credit scores in the future? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that they're going away. They're totally unfair, and I've been working on mine for like the last 2 years. Proud American Girl says, great show. Post 3485. Q says, Schiff knowingly committed 3 crimes. Has our favorite Anon ever given a specific number of crimes for any other deep state agent? Hope he is the first indictment. Would love that. Kathleen Bikert, thanks for this comfy Sunday. Gervas has joined as a member. Vigilant Blade, great show, Patriots. Godspeed to you all. Keep up the great work. Sherry Mullen, YouTube vid, SBA loan scam, $1 billion stolen. Love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you. Ardoc, you can comment on that in a moment. Jeremy Board, you need to do this every night. Helps close the mainstream media wound. Giving back to the mods and the dream team. Thank you all. Thank you very much, Jeremy. White Hat Granny says, I have lived a long time and have never seen or heard the media disrespect any president like they have President Trump. I can hardly watch them disrespect him during the briefings at the White House. You're not alone. And John Howe, which one would shock the world, Obama or Hillary? I want to hear specifically about Ukraine. I did not know that the Attorney General, or however they're termed over there in Ukraine, had been let go. I'm assuming that this person is a holdover from No.
So Lutsenko was the guy when Trump and Zelensky were talking. Lutsenko was the guy that was still in power, and he was unfairly treated as well. Rudy's interviewed him as well, and then the guy before him, and then the 2 people before that were bad news. Okay, we can go into more detail. We don't have the time for it. Ryabashapka was brought in then at that time, and the timing of that, right around the time that the call took place and everything started happening with the impeachment inquiry and Schiff's inquiry, Ryabashapka came out of the legal profession, out of the anti-fraud groups like ANTAC, where Shabubin and these guys are. And he was brought in. He started looking at all the prior cases, and now he's been removed. Everybody's crying, well, you know, he's tied in. Some people are saying, no, it's just because of performance issues. Bottom line is, it's the same way that Trump is playing. He wanted to be the Donald Trump of Ukraine. He's acting the same way, in all honesty. So now you have a situation where also the SBU, that's the State Bureau of Secret Police, basically, it's your state police. That guy just got busted for being an agent for the FSB in Russia. Ooh. Okay, so but he has to walk a fine line. His Dan Iliuk, who was tied in with the Vinmans and the other name that we aren't allowed to say, the Eric guy, you know, all those guys work together. And when you talk about harvesting corn, if you look at the timeline of when the meetings were happening, when Pence was going over there, when our Secretary of Energy Rick Perry was going over there, and all those conversations, think of it as a trap, a perfect call, a bait. Think of it as everything was laid out and they were all caught with their hands in the cookie jar, because protecting Joe Biden and making sure that what they did in Ukraine with, you know, the overthrow of Yanukovych, Biden and Nuland and all those people, everything would come back to bite them in the butt. Okay, they had to stop it. They had no choice. And then that would then expose all the other things they've done in Syria, in the Congo. I mean, Ukraine is just one example, right, guys? We all know this. So George Soros is got one of his guys in close to Zelensky, and we've talked about him many times. And why is his name escaping me? So Zelensky has to walk a fine line. These oligarchs, they run the country, and Zelensky's got so much authority, but it's just like being in a swamp times 10. Maybe the U.S. swamp is worse. Maybe the Ukrainian swamp is worse, but they're so intertwined. It's not even funny. And when we start seeing the Durham stuff come out, I'm 100% positive we're going to see it tie out not just the Christopher Steele things, but we're going to see how the Ukrainians were working with, and we've talked about CrowdStrike, how the Ukrainians were working with Hunter, the Chinese were working with Hunter, how they got involved in some of these TALF structured finance deals that SGT was all upset about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All these things link together in how the deep state has put together the swamp. They have to have a process, a structure, and so on and so forth. And Soros is a guy that kind of manipulates things. He makes things happen. He can make countries rise and fall and bets on the currency and makes money off of things. But Georgi Schwartz and his background is something that all the research that we've done, hours and hours and hours, ties him back, and Putin wants his hide. There's a special place, it's reserved, and that's I'm pretty darn sure. I'm looking through the Q post. It's tied for George Soros to Putin.
Just one thing I want to interject. You said the difference, perhaps America is worse. I definitely think that America's swamp is worse than Ukraine's swamp because they are it's more visible, I guess, in the Ukraine, perhaps even more openly talked about and accepted. American politicians like to pretend that they are absolutely, completely above reproach. There is no corruption here, but it is far, far worse because there's a lot more money that's involved. Does anybody have any comments they want to make on what RDoc just revealed?
No, we're picking our brains off the floor right now.
Yeah, so. Right.
Well, I know there was something that I saw a report today talking about funding that went through the ambassador, and I guess they upped the funding from, I want to say Burks to Ukraine, but it went through what was her name there? That was heavily against Trump during the impeachment.
Yovanovitch,
but it went through her.
Masha.
So it was over the course of like 7 years or whatever, but it was going to be originally 10 million, but it went up to 30 million, and I guess it went through her as well.
Well, so she in her the AIDS group that she works with in that whole program that donated the AIDS money, she was in a position. Dr. Burks was in a position to delegate that out. As Ukraine and the ambassador, they would be in a position then to delegate that out. Who does that money go to? NGOs. One of the NGOs, or actually two or three of them, and this is what Rudy talked about during his videos, right?
This is PEPFAR you're talking about, right?
Yep, the PEPFAR thing. One of the things that Rudy talked about was Shabubin, I think I said his name right. He is one of the board members on NABU. Well, NABU is that organization that George Kent, who testified against Trump, helped set up, that had Artem Sitnik, that's now under investigation, that ran cover for Biden and Nuland and all these people in Ukraine and all this corruption and Hunter Biden and all this jazz. Okay, Shabubin is under investigation now for corruption. He's a Soros guy, and the other guy, Sherminiev or whatever. These guys got the AIDS money too, and it's not just AIDS money, it's anything NGO related. They stole US money and European money, billions of dollars of IMF loans through bank scams, defense funding scams, and so on and so forth. And interesting to note, by the way, we just gave them $3.9 or $3.19 million to help them in their COVID fight over there. I saw that in the news articles today, and they are hurting just as bad, if not worse than us. And we saw the IMF was doing loan forgiveness for a few countries. They're all dictatorships and centers of chaos and human trafficking. not Ukraine. So,
easiest places to steal the money from. Somebody mentioned that Corey Lynn from Corey's Digs just recently did a big report on PEPFAR and this whole situation, and we talked about it the weekend before she released it. So if you guys want to get some real deep information on it, you can always go to Corey's website or her Twitter profile. Truth Not Fiction Matters. Matthew says U1, 911, Congo, Libya, Haiti, Syria, all the way to Ukraine. All right. So what else do we have on the docket tonight, guys? Methods?
Oh, don't call on me. I have no idea. No, I mean, we also wanted to make sure that we caught up with what everybody's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So,
right.
I mean, let's start. I would say start with our doc so we can get the time out the way.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm still
make it
looking
quick.
through the post. So as you guys know, and Methods, you're and Red Pill, you the guys that kind of push me to do this stuff, and it's fascinating, and the community's been very supportive. So yes. Red Pill put me in touch with Corin the other day, and I didn't know it was supposed to be a premiere type of thing. So I had a call with him, and I'm going to be he lives about 6 miles from my house. So we're going to
romance.
Yeah, well, no, but definitely an intellectual and spiritual kind of thing. He has, like Red Pill said, a lot of information, and people on my channel are saying, tell us about the biggest red pill of all. Tell us about the biggest red pill of all. This has to be done in a way that won't put 90% of the people in the hospital. And so we're going to work together on some information to show you how these bad people, the Hillary Clinton types of the world, have been using, and what they believe and where it came from religious-wise, history-wise, and seeing the pattern of how they keep us from having that relationship with God, how they try to keep us in fear, how they try to keep us down. We're going to be working on that. And then if you haven't checked it out, we had a White Hat on last night, and we went into the homework from your show. That's kind of where we took that from. We went in a little bit more detail on some things, and we still have more, I think, on that to do, frankly. So we'll be looking at that, and I appreciate all your work and all the help that you're giving me to develop here, because it's really, we're finding people want to know. And you know me, I go into the detail. I talk too much. So Tron's the guy to go to for the fast stuff.
All right. Well,
so Tron, what are you up to now?
Yeah, still digging, still looking into the crumbs, and I'm actually gonna start getting into some stringers. Actually, the stringers have always fascinated me, and there have been some connections in other anons that have made connections with a bunch of stringers. So I want to get into that. But yeah, tomorrow's Patriots Day, and there's a Q post that says Trump card coming. So I can't wait for that to come. But yeah, I'm gonna continue to make videos and love all the Patriots that put out good content, because we need this. This is part of the history books. This is our timeline. This is our time, right?
100%. What about you, Hulk? What do you got working on besides being the sidekick to our doc?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I love the respect I get from these people in this room right here. Yeah.
this is the OG right here, too.
Ardoc and Space Shot are going to have to just have it out, and I'll just team up with the winner. How about
that? He's got a mic now. I've been working with him to get his OBS set up, and he's going to be doing some stuff. We're going to get Hulkinator out there doing his stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be good. You got to remember, a lot of us, me and Tron and our Dr. D, we're all from Patriot News. We started, at least me and our doc started way back in 2018 in November over on QNN in a live feed, basically environment through different Discords and different channels, but still doing the same thing. Now we're into Patriot News, and then expanding out on their little individual channels and picking up good people like Tron, hooking up with Space Shot. I mean, I really enjoy our weekly shows we do on Thursdays at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. So always tune into that, because we want to leave some room for the Red Pill show for Friday and Saturday. So thank you for leaving that spot open for us, sir.
Sure, man. I love helping to bring people over there too. And just for everybody, I just dropped everybody's YouTube channels into the chat. So Hulk's channel, Patriot News channel, RDoc, Space Shot, Tron. So make sure that you guys are subscribing to them.
We forgot about Space Shot.
Oh no,
and,
Space who? What?
Yeah, Space Shot. Okay, so besides trying to wake up before noon, What do you have going on in your life?
Hey, Mike, before you go on or when you answer, we also want to mention another member of the team that's not here, and he's always welcome on. He's one of the founding members of Table of Titans, and that's our buddy Matthew over at TNFM. So just want to make that comment.
Love you, Matthew.
Yep, one of
bomb.
our founding members, and he's been doing a lot of prepping lately, working out on the boat. So, we're continuing on doing our thing, just keeping everybody abreast with the Q post and any information we see that's coming out. And of course, stealing all Methods goodies off of Twitter. But, we're going to continue on doing this till the very end. I know I can speak for the rest of us on the Table of Titans here that we will not stop until we are absolutely done and the last bad guy is put in jail and justice is then seen by everybody. And I know you guys will do the same over here.
Heck yeah. Now, I had one more thing, Ardoc, I wanted you to go over because you're the only person that has spoken about this with any authority. There was that video that was released last week, which was purported to be a small business owner attempting to speak with the Small Business Administration to get information and follow up on her loan for the economic disaster recovery loan that she had filled out. And I didn't know if it was real. I didn't even publish it, but you had said that you don't believe it's real. Can you
Don't
expound
believe
on
this
that?
world. So I've worked in the banking industry for a number of years, both as an executive and lower level, and as a loan officer. And the way the call goes down, it becomes very clear as soon as she talks to that individual, as soon as he answers that phone, the first thing he has to do is verify her identity, verify her information, etc. And the way they played that off gave it away. It appears to me, based on that information and some other little things, this is not compliance officers are monitoring this stuff. They even try to play it off that, this call is being monitored. That compliance officer, he would be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's all kinds of KYC, know your customer, anti-money laundering checks that have to be done when you're talking to people to verify their identity before any information get. And not only that, he's got to enter it into a system to be able to pull it up. Okay. So it doesn't happen the way you think, like a customer service for finding out if a product's at a store.
Mm-hmm.
That in and of itself was enough for me. Then listening to the West, how it played out was very convenient. And then the fact that he then goes way over and talks about Schumer and that stuff. That's design. That to me is in design, and that was conveniently cut off. Designed to let people like us spread it around and then look like fools.
All right. Now, I also just want to say my mom sent me this link over. If anybody here is like me and you're still waiting for that stimulus check, you can go to this link at the IRS. You have to input some data, and if they need additional data from you, then they will get your check either sent out in the mail or direct deposited to you. You'll need your taxes from last year. You need to know your adjusted gross income. You have to give your social, your date of birth. But again, this is the government website, so I just put it in the chat. If you guys want to go ahead and do that, I filled it out today, and supposedly they're going to be direct depositing this week.
They will never call you. That's important. There's scams out there. They will never ever call you.
Just D says, I'm in love with methods now. And that's going back to when I asked you what we wanted to cover here, too. Thank you for that. Sandy Holguin says, remember POTUS warned us back in 2019 to be prepared for a disaster, to have at least 2 months' food supply on hand. Sanctified says, you guys saw President Trump's Q-tip down arrow in his speech tonight. And then Mark for the win says, thank you, gentlemen. It was a beautiful evening, very comfy evening. 222 PS, it is an angel number, means you're on the right track. All right, sweet. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the Q-tips from President Trump's presser tonight. We didn't touch on it earlier. Space Shot, do you think that was a bit of a nod? Or our doctor, since I know he's...
Space Shot whenever you're ready.
He may be doing the laundry. He's at his folks' house. I saw the Q-tips, but I didn't pick up on the arrow. I saw him pick out the big one, and that was really kind of cool. And then he took out the little one, and then he took out another little one. I'm like, why has he got two? So the fact that somebody picked that up as an arrow, and I'm like, okay, but why? Why? What would an arrow signify?
I thought he was pointing directly to the Q-tips themselves, like he was like showing the press, you know? I mean, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if that was a little nod to this movement and he's saying, you know, like, you know, this is what's up. Here's the real news right here.
Oh, Q-tips. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Q-tips.
Come on.
He brought up the big one first.
Question he was asked and didn't answer.
Yeah.
1745.
Yeah.
And he kept asking the crew on there, you know what this is called? And then he brought out the two smaller ones and he says, these are Q-tips. And then he took the big one and he handed it to the scarf lady and go, here you go. And he held on to the two Q-tips, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, a single would have been just a Q-tip, but Q-tips, you know, multiple. He's making sure he had multiple.
And also, his tie, if you look at his tie today at the presser, it's the exact same color as that Punisher pin that Hannity was wearing the other night with the silver, black, and blue.
Ooh.
I noticed that too. You got that slide, right? I saw you.
Yeah,
got
that's
that slide
awesome.
already.
that's a nice one. And also, he said 4.18 million tested, and QPost 418 just says test, which is cool.
Very interesting.
See, Tron, I love Tron when he does stuff like that.
That's what we love, Tron.
Bringing it.
Autism activated.
Charlize,
some good slides.
Charlize Brown says, would it not be a bit of an advantage, since POTUS has all the goods on all of them, to arrest Barry and HRC? Let's see how many they would throw under the bus. I think that it would be, you know, any number of those people would probably end up turning on the other people. And then Mark for the win says Q and Q+. There we go. There's two tips right there. But yeah, you know, anything else going on in the news that you guys want to talk about? We got about 10 minutes left.
Well, I want to make one comment.
Okay.
About that last statement.
Okay.
If you arrested these people too early, like Bill Cooper talked about 30, 40 years ago, they have not just the plague in their playbook. They got shooting wars, regional nuclear wars, Messiah return, alien invasions. This was something that they've planned for 70 years. So think about the order of things happen. Stop in North Korea, nuclear threat. Going right after the financing for Iran, cutting that whole deal off. Think about the order of things happen, keeping us safe because they were prepared to nuke us to keep this secret. That's how serious this is. So people who think this could just go run out in the street and arrest somebody, that's not what it's not about nations. It's about humanity.
Mm-hmm. Hulkinator, you have anything on that?
So does that come back to our thought process is they will not be safe to walk down the street? Is it so much as a physical arrest that needs to happen and paraded out in front of the TV cameras, or is it exposure of the information to the general public that puts them awakes them to where the real corruption is? Do we vote it out? Do people go down with pitchforks and torches? No, I'm not saying that. But, I mean, that's all a possibility. How do you safely serve justice in America? That's my question.
Methods?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. You know, how do we safely do this correctly? And some of it has to do with voting. Some of it has to do with justice. Some of it has to do with countering narratives and doing like what we're doing tonight, hanging out and having discussions. You know, we always complain about the media. They bring on a guest we're all excited about. It's a controlled conversation. It's 2.5 minutes long. Anytime it gets too close to what we want to hear, commercial break, and then they're gone. You know, we need to have discussions in general and have these things happen, and that's the future. And that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You know, and Hulk, to your point, you know, about the public disclosure, I mean, it's not going to be safe for them, in my mind, to walk down the streets because all of this is going to be exposed and people are going to know what's been taking place this entire time, and they're going to be very angry. I think that they're going to demand for justice. You know, right now we've got about half the country who is ready to just, you know, do whatever it takes, and they want justice to happen now. And now it's all about convincing the other half of the country. Space Shot, what do you think about this? Or Tron?
Sorry, what was the question?
We're talking about the disclosure of public information. You know, when this is going to happen. You know, any thoughts on the arrests and the public disclosure?
I think, you know, let's all be honest. I mean, John Solomon and Sarah Carter and Hannity have been pretty much spot on during all this, everything that they've told us, right? So this week, they're telling us basically that he thinks indictments are actually coming up this week. So I think he could be spot on with that. And, I was going to bring it up earlier, but we were kind of going round robin, with all the, the post the other day with the 5432 and the JPEG, and even the post that I mentioned, 3456, and all these different countdowns. And when do these come? These come like 2 or 3 days after Q is like, all right, guys, let's put a cork in trying to, speculate dates that are coming out. You're only making us look bad when you do this. And then 2 days later, he puts up these posts that are very much looking like it's saying this week are the indictment is going to be the indictment week. So I don't really know, but I mean, by all indications from what I'm hearing, from Solomon and the like, and Grassley as well, that the indictments very well could be coming this week. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and praying that is possible.
Well, to that point real quick, Red Pill, like this right here, the fact that Solomon said, I think this week, which in theory would have been the end of this past week, if it doesn't happen in that case, remember the source and remember he was just trying to make an educated guess. Because if we get to be this time next Sunday, we're going to hear it in the chat. We're going to hear everywhere that, it was supposed to happen this week. No, John Solomon said it was going to happen probably this week.
Excellent.
And that's where it gets built up and snowballs into all this stuff. So if he wants to date fairy and make these accusations or assumptions of dates, that's fine. It's something to keep an eye on. But when it goes down the telephone game and becomes, it's this week or Q lied, it's like, no, Solomon said it. And our favorite and I pointed towards it, letting you know it's happening. But as far as times and dates and stuff, to the point earlier that Hulk made and everybody else made, we aren't supposed to know all those things.
Remember White Hat the other day on your show, going through that document, military deception is part of the plan, and this thing is by the book.
Excellent points, both of you. Tron, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's fun because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We know it's going to come, and like Method said, we're not going to know. We're going to get hit one day out of the blue. We're not going to know anything, and once the indictments start, and the public is ready for that kind of thing, and all the lies are exposed against our president and America and the world, guess what? We get to take all those lies and go back, and then we get to learn about JFK assassination. We get to learn about 9/11. We get to learn about all these crimes that were previously committed that are going to come to light, and it's literally going to change the history books, and that's the most exciting part for me.
Right, and we also, to that point, Tron, and you're going to be great at it, everybody's going to be good at it, we're going to have to take the truth coming out and then going to the Wayback Machine and showing where they've been lying in the media, in Congress, Hillary, what she said during the election, what Hussein said during the election. We're going to have to couple those things together, and that's why this army, part of the reason why it's so important, because we have to expose things after the fact, just as important as exposing things in real time.
Well, let me throw this out there too, is, we can go off with all the D-class and information, and half the left and liberals are going to go, okay, so some paperwork thing about spying or something, it's not going to mean anything to them in the end. They're just going to think Orange Man bad. But if they can play it like they do the Democrats with the liberal side, to start with the kids, if they can get into some of the child trafficking or the sexual stuff with the kids, to get them sucked into it, that they go, oh my God, this is real, this is a huge problem, and then take a step up from there to collectively get everybody focusing in one direction. That's my thought also.
Just want to do a couple of thank yous before we wrap it up. I think Baby Yoda sent a super chat earlier, and I missed it. If I missed anybody's, then I'm certainly very apologetic. Didn't mean to do that. T-Patriot said, I heard that George Soros is dead and his children are in control. Can you explain the connection with Adam Schiff, Space Shot, Matt Couch, Craig Sawyer, AJ, Worked, Hillary Bush, Vets for Rescue, Money Missing, Crewy Louie, Veterans on Patrol connections? Oh, AS is Austin.
I want to hear, at some point, I want to hear at least on here how Space Shot fits into that.
Yeah, okay. So I guess I don't know what the exact connection is. There was a video that was released that showed that Austin was trying to create a situation during that whole Veterans on Patrol thing, and they kicked him out, and they made a video, and they put it out. Matt Couch, he's trying to be a journalist. I mean, I'm not saying he isn't, but I mean, that's what he's doing. Like I said earlier, nobody gets everything right all the time. So I would say that The article that was written that appeared on his site was not written by him, and perhaps it could have been written differently to maybe get the point across, but, you know, it's not my article, and, you know, that's about all I'm going to say about it. Craig Sawyer, you know, I don't know anything about Craig Sawyer, and Craig Sawyer recently sued a whole bunch of people, so I don't even want to dip my toes in that water. And then AJ worked Hillary Bush. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that's Alex. Alex worked Hillary Bush. I don't know about that one. But yeah, Veterans on Patrol, there was like a whole scandal with them, and I think that that's a very sticky situation, too. If you guys have any thoughts on that, let me just finish these up. Candace Estave, Fauci hand signals. I haven't seen any of those. Mark for the win about, those guns in Hollywood found with Getty's ex-wife. I haven't heard any follow-up on that since it originally happened. Carolyn King, Trump came on at 1827. Post number 1827 is Showtime. Documentary Magic says the name Naboo, found in an ET code a few years ago, supposedly a god in the past and coming back to Earth. Not kidding. Anyone else hear that? All I thought was Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. Sheila Garrett sharing some of that stimulus. Naboo. Sharing some of that stimulus money. Love you guys and love the president. Casey Anon. How come there is no info on Southcom activities against cartels that POTUS announced a week or so ago? Not normal to see nothing at all. I would imagine it's because there's still ongoing actions taking place and they're not going to broadcast what they're doing. Micah D2, did you hear about Microsoft buying a patent for cryptocurrency tied to RFID chips and human activity, and then gives us the patent number? Curtis Franklin, Dark to Light, great job tonight, guys. Dale Bercier, just trying to influence the future here. A little something to help you possibly put a ring on the finger of your girlfriend. That is certainly in the works. Gino says, the Q-tip video is amazing, lots of comms, and I Dream of Jesus has joined as a member. All right, guys, we have reached the end of our regularly scheduled program. I wasn't joking. I want to go on Patriot News or RDoc or Hulkinator, your channel. We can do it there, but we should do another show very soon. It's been far too long since we've all been together. Space Shot, I'm going to give you the last word.
I only get one word?
A string of them is fine.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Two of my good friends, Red Pill and Method, along with my other co-hosts here, and all the faithful people that are always watching us. I do appreciate you guys always tuning in. And let's keep our fingers crossed. We see some good movement this week. Let's hope. You know, I don't want to piss off Methods too much. Let's hope Don Solomon is right this week.
Fingers crossed.
Hope. So fingers crossed. Is always wishful thinking. And that's it, guys. So I do appreciate you guys having me on, and definitely need to do it again soon. Peace out.
Absolutely. Tron?
Yeah, thanks so much, Red Pill and Methods, for having us on tonight. We'll do it again sometime, and keep your eyes open for all the crumbs. And moving forward, just remember to dig, meme, and pray, and love your family. Love you guys.
I love it. RDoc?
One word, concrete. And you guys know what that means with the Hillary Clinton.
Gotta end it with a riddle, don't you?
No.
You just have to
dig and
I'll let him talk about it. I just want to say in the words that a man that was very dear to me that passed away the other day, his words to everybody were no fear, or no, be encouraged and stay the course. And that's my message to everybody. Be encouraged and stay the course. No fear.
Awesome. And Hulkinator?
Hey, I want to say thank you to everybody that was on the panel today. This is probably the tightest group of people on the internet that I've seen that like to share information, and we get information or guests from you guys. We really appreciate it. Being a team. Methods is a really good dude. I let him sleep on my couch, no problem. So it'd be pretty comfy Sunday. So I appreciate it, guys. Much love. Catch us Thursday nights. We'll be live on Patriot News and also on Space Shot 76 channel. Thank you, guys. Pray.
Thank you, Hulk. And Methods, I love you, brother. Go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
Much love. I'm so happy we had the boys on when we talked about this like a month ago.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Well, we've been talking
about
it even longer than that.
Right. But we decided back, about a month ago, and I'm so grateful for everybody coming on. Tron, I know you've been with them for a bit, but welcome to the family. We all love you. With that said, quarantine tomorrow, right? We got a fresh week going on. I think we're going to do maybe 2 more weeks?
Yeah.
in the conversation.
As long as the lockdown continues, we will continue to stick with quarantine. So be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. and then again at 6 for the regular news roundup. Just D in the end says, best show ever, Red Pill. Hannah BR12 cannot vote as long as Zoros is around. Bob Ayala, I have heard differing reports on whether the virus can jump species. I heard someone on YouTube say that a virus cannot jump species unless it has been genetically altered in some way. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe we'll have to take that up on the next show.
No, it's not true.
Not true. Okay, Cool Flame, thank you guys for pushing forward. Stay connected, strength in numbers. And Mark for the win. Yes, sir, Hulk, you are correct. A beautiful evening. And I just want to echo that sentiment. This has been an incredible show. I love you all. Thank you very much for being here with us, and I'm glad that we finally got it done. Let's not wait another 11 months before it happens again.
All right. Yep. Much love, everybody. Y'all have a great night.
Love you
Thanks, guys.
Good luck and God bless.